Well, it's great to be here after spending 6 years back in the ACC, and it's great to be back in the Midwest. And so I look forward to working with Coach Wilson and our defensive staff and the progress Coach has made over the last 3 years. Questions?
I guess the obligatory, what kind of style of defense will you run? Will you multiple, be 3-4, that type of thing?
My background is predominantly a 3-4 defense. I think what we've done at Forest and Air Force and Ohio, some places I've been, I think in this day and age you have to be multiple, especially in this conference. We just can't line up at an odd front every snap. So we'll be very multiple, incorporate some of the schemes from last year, but we will base out of a 3-4.
Do you like the blitz?
We've been pressured. I think a lot of it as I continue to evaluate the personnel that we have, the personnel we're bringing in this class, which we're very excited about, will determine how much blitz we'll be able to do.
What's your early read on the personnel? I guess obviously it's early. You haven't seen them, you haven't been around them, but what's your kind of thoughts on this?
I've been on campus other than last week when the recruits were in. I've been on campus about 14 hours, so I have not seen a lot of the personnel. I've watched a little bit as I was talking to Coach Wilson. Watched a little bit game tape, so I haven't broke it down like I need to. But I think there's some. I think the strength right now is up front, and I was pretty excited when I watched them.
If you're hoping to get pressure up front, how do you like to play your back four? Talk a little bit about your philosophy regarding corners and safeties.
Well, I think whether you're 4-3, 3-4, the back end doesn't change a lot. Okay. Whether you're predominantly a man pressure or zone pressure will be based on what our kids can accomplish. But I think that'll be the less change for the guys, because coverage-wise, we're not significantly different than some of the things that they've done before.
What has Coach Wilson told you about the personnel and whether it's geared to be able to be successful in a 3-4 front?
Well, I think what Coach has talked about is obviously the playing of the youth. And any time in college football when you have young men that have played, and the amount of freshmen he's played over the last couple of years, you've got guys that have played against good people. And so I think that experience alone should help us as far as how it helps us determine what kind of scheme we'll do up front. I think that I really have to be able to assess the talent before.
You've coached a few different positions in your career. Have you guys determined what you're going to coach here?
Well, right now we may have another position on defense, so we're going to go for the best guy. I've coached inside, outside, and safeties, and that's pretty much the background is coordinating the defense. Those are 3 inside type positions, and I think you always want to coordinate from the inside out, so I'd feel comfortable with any of those positions.
How did your experience on the offensive side of the ball help you as a defensive coordinator?
A lot. I wish I would have had that experience before I was a head coach, but I think just Coach Grove brought me back to Wake Forest, and at the time only position he had was offense, so I coached wide receivers. Enjoyed it. Had a young man play in the Senior Bowl yesterday, but it was a great experience just to be able to. And I would think I helped the offensive side as well, just to see how the defensive guys think. So just to be able on that side of the ball, and I think I'm sure every defensive coach wishes they were able to work on that side of the ball, and those two and a half years at Wake Forest certainly helped.
When you're going after recruits, is there a common denominator in what you're looking for? I mean, I know there's different sides, whether you're lineman or safety, but in terms of characteristics, whether it's speed, whether it's aggression, whether it's high football IQ, that type of stuff.
The number one attribute that we're looking for defensively is how important is football. How important is football? And that's something that if football is important enough, everything will take care of itself. And so to answer your question a little closer, we were a little bit more speed conscious in the ACC. I think, being such a physical conference, it's a little bit different recruiting. We a little bit bigger kid, I think. We won't have as many DBs sometimes as we've had on the field in the ACC. So I think physically, we're getting a little more physical player.
A lot of 3-4s traditionally have had a huge nose guard who's designed to take on a double team and be a 2-technique guy, take away both of the gaps on either side of the center. From what I understand, you've had quicker nose guards who give centers problems that way by slanting one way or the other to take a gap. And you have single gap responsibility on the line. Is that accurate?
We have in the past had had big nose guards that can play two gap and like an NFL type team. We've also this year at Wake Forest we had the number 2 player in the ACC, and he was 5'9", 260. So I think a lot of it depends on personnel, and a lot of it, we'll be moving him. He's not always going to be head up; he'll be shaded, and so I'm excited to see our personnel. I know we have some big kids, and I think that'll be the challenge and the opportunity to be able to utilize them.
What's been a head coach influence you since you became a defensive coordinator?
Well, I think that my experience as a head coach, how did that help?
Yeah.
I think that you see things a little bit different as a head coach. I think Coach Wilson talked about that as well. I mean, it's as a defensive coach, you're maybe worried about how much you're on the field, but as a former head coach, the big picture comes into effect. So I'm excited. I think sometimes you get focused as an assistant or a coordinator on specifically your end of the pie, but as a head coach, hopefully I can see the big picture.
You talk about how long you're on the field. That's obviously an offense that moves really fast. I guess, was that anything that made you nervous a little bit that these guys are going to score?
No, I don't think so. I think the big thing is just to get them the ball, and so our ability to get off the field. We played Clemson, was a fast pace offense, and so our ability to get off the field is going to be important. I think that if you look at one thing from last year is just being able to get off the field on third down is going to be, and I think our philosophy is we'll be out front, move around, but third down you're going to get a lot of different things.
Coaching defense at Indiana traditionally has been a huge challenge. It hasn't gone well for them. What was it? Because I'm sure you're aware of the struggles. Did you embrace that challenge, or what made you decide that this is the place for you?
Well, I think certainly the opportunity, whether it was back at the Air Force Academy and 7 years ago, Ohio University, I've had an opportunity to come into situations where we'd struggled a little bit on defense and really significantly improve. So I see this as another one of those opportunities. And so I feel like I've been there. First meeting with the defense, I talked about the different scenarios where I came into those situations, and our defense significantly improved, and we went to bowl games.
What was it that allowed those changes to happen? I mean, was there something in common in being able to improve those defenses?
Well, I think I think that number one is our confidence on defense, and that's something that you just can't snap your fingers and get confidence. So that's something we're going to have to grow, and something we're going to have to really work on, not only this spring but the winter workouts. What they do every day. Competing-wise, we've got a great challenge competing with our offense, and that's something we've challenged them about in the weight room, in the off-season workouts, and the spring ball. So I think just competition and confidence will hopefully be a big step to that.
I don't mean this to sound flip. I wrote one time, it's hard to see why a sane person would want to be a defensive coordinator in modern-day college football.
In Indianapolis about 2 weeks ago, every coach in the country was there. And you could tell the defensive coordinators, they were walking around looking like they've been shell-shocked, 20 pounds overweight, all of them. So it's a challenge in college football because the rules continue to favor the offense. So it's a challenge to be a defensive coordinator, but it's exciting, especially in this league. I think the diversity, I don't know whether Big 12, ACC, SEC, there's a tremendous diversity of schemes in this conference.
All right.
Okay,
All right, thank you
very much.
Appreciate it.